I was looking for a father figure in men for a long time. I heard the dude tell her to run her shit, and she started to yell, "Give him the chain!" And we heard shots, and I've never seen them dudes again. The principal literally told me that I was not gonna graduate. Somebody got killed. I knew the person died because I was where the money was at in Atlanta. Money, entertainment, drugs, sex. It was just, and as soon as he got out of jail, he killed himself, knowing that people were looking at him like a child molester. She was a little bit bipolar. It was like, you know, that premonition of, oh shit, nigga, I said. He just hits him. To the car, we start hearing gunshots. Bullets going ping, past my ear and everything. God, if you get me out of here, I will never go to another after hours spot ever again. Damn. This feels like a good therapy. You gonna charge me when I leave here?
Scars podcast where the truth never lies.
We are back with another episode of Scars. Today I'm sitting down with Miss KC. How are you doing, lady?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
I'm good, man. I am happy you made the drive from New York to come down and sit with me. You know,
it's a nice drive.
Okay, that's what's up. So, Miss KC, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a tastemaker in the music and entertainment industry.
How long have you been doing that?
A little over 13 years.
13 years?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up. Let's get into some scars, all right? We just gonna jump right into scars because she don't want to tell us what she do. So let's get into what she done been through. All right, so tell us about your scars.
Beginning I think one of my, the first scars I can remember is growing up without my dad. Was a scar that I think that I truly first understood was a scar. I was looking for a father figure in men for a long time. Different attributes, I guess, what a father would have been to me and the different men that I dated growing up. So I think that's a scar, the first scar I could remember. And just realizing that, you know, not having him in my life took a toll on what I was looking for in a man, which led me to make a lot of bad decisions. Okay. That's why I would say it's a scar. Because, you know, sometimes it could help you or it could, I think, do the wrong things. And I think it did the wrong things. So my dad, he was around when I was an infant.
Okay.
And then some things took place where he felt it would be best to not be around because of legal issues.
Okay.
And things of that nature. And I think he came back around the time that I was like 16. So from like an infant, maybe 1 till about 15, I didn't have him around.
Okay. Did you get to see him or?
Well, the times that I did get to see him, it was, like I said, I was turning into a young adult. So I just really didn't feel like I knew who he was. I knew that was my dad. But as far as having a relationship, a secured relationship on, you know, that's my provider, that's my protection and stuff like that, no. I made bad decisions on the type of individual I decided to date because of what I was looking for. Like I was looking for I think I was looking for some form of protection. Support, like support by a man. And it's crazy because throughout my like spiritual journey, these are things that I noticed as well. But yeah, just some type of male guidance I was like looking for. And I was doing this all in dating the wrong man because I didn't want to be guided the ways that I was being guided by these individuals. But
or misled.
Yeah, like okay. It was just, and it was the wrong protection. You know, at the end of the day, I don't need like physical protection all the time. Why would I feel like I needed that all the time?
Okay.
So it was just certain things mentally I feel like I was looking for because I just didn't have it in a father figure. And as I got older, I realized I looked for that also in like mentors, you know, male mentors and things of that nature instead of looking for them in a spouse.
Tell us about the scar being robbed.
Oh, this scar being robbed. I was a teenager, young teenager, maybe about 14, 15 years old. And my dad had just bought me a nameplate. So when my dad did finally come back in my life, it was more, he was financially like well off. So he felt by giving me finances, like giving me money and things that was like buying that love and trust factor, I guess, back that I didn't have. And that's what also kind of becomes a still lesson also as well on what I want from a man. It travels into that stage of a teenager, but he had bought me a chain and my mom had told me specifically, take the chain off because you're going to get robbed. Like she always had this, like, I called it juju because it ends up happening. But she told me not to, I told her we wanted to go to the store, me and my friend. And she told me to take off the chain. And I was like, no, why do I take off the chain? You're in Brownsville, you're going to get robbed. Take off the chain. So, you know, me being a teenager, a rebellious teenager at the time, I act like I was going in, put on my jacket, tucked it in so she didn't see it. And then when I got outside, opened up my jacket, you know, just wanted to show off my chain. I just got a brand new chain. So we walked to the store and two gentlemen walked up to me and my friend. And one was trying to talk to her, the other one was trying to talk to me. And I heard the dude tell her to run her shit. And she was like one of the, you know, one of the ditz kind of girls. And she was like, huh? What does that mean? I already knew what it meant. So I look at her like, what you about to do? Because I'm either about to run, we about to run together, or we just about to sit here and get robbed. I didn't know what she was going to do, and I wasn't going to leave her. So I looked at her because I already knew what was going to happen. So once the guy grabbed her jacket, and I think he stole her jacket, if I'm not mistaken, too. Her jacket was stolen. And the other one grabbed my chain. So when he grabbed my chain, I grabbed it back. And she started to yell, "Give him that chain!" It's like going crazy. And he grabbed the chain back from me. And all I remember is we started to like walk because they started like to walk the other way, like really quickly. And I seen two of my brother's friends that I don't see often, but I just knew their faces. And I told them that we had just gotten robbed. They ran into the projects, like towards where the guys were running. And we heard shots, and I've never seen them dudes again. I never heard of anything happening, but we never seen those dudes ever again. But that's a scar that sticks with me forever because it's like, I didn't listen. And half the time I don't listen, especially to my mom. Things happen.
Okay. Tell us about the scar at school.
School. The first scar I had at school was just being doubted by a principal. Like I was a very rebellious student.
Okay.
I like to do everything like we had uniform. I always wanted to like roll my skirt up and, you know, just the things that the girls wanted to do. And it's not Catholic school, but because we had uniform, they thought that we were in Catholic school. It was, I don't know if you ever heard of 383.
Okay, yeah.
Have you ever IS 383? So it was for the gifted and talented. You had to take a test to get in and everything else. So it was a school of high academics. And I was able to get into that school through the, it was the bilingual program at the time because I had just missed the test scores and they were able to put me through the bilingual program to make it in. Mind you, I really didn't talk Spanish too much. So it was kind of crazy how they would put me in a bilingual program because they're just speaking strictly Spanish and you're learning English. So at that time, I'm in these classes that talk predominantly Spanish. So you could imagine how my behavior was. I was like, what is going on in here? I don't even understand what's going on in here. So the principal literally told me that I was not going to graduate in front of my mother. Mind you, I was in all different academic programs, you know, just But I just didn't want to follow suit. But after that lady told me that, it was like, no one ever tells me no, I'm not going to do something. And I've took that with me to this day. Like I have a problem with someone telling me I can't do something.
Wow.
So that scar was just like, when I see my mother's worry, when the principal said that, and even to this day, that's one of my mother's like testimony too. Like, don't tell her she's not gonna do something, because I still remember the day her principal told her she wouldn't graduate. Like, she didn't let that up. And not only did she graduate, but I graduated with scholars and stuff. So it was actually my graduation day. I stopped in the middle of the auditorium and was like, I thought I wouldn't graduate. And she just didn't know what to do with herself, because it was like all the teachers were like, holy crap. Because they didn't believe that she said that to me. But my mother was there. So it was, yeah.
Okay. Tell us about the scar of witnessing death.
It was a night. It was an eerie night anyway. It was raining. And I just felt funny. It was something all day that just was off for me. I didn't know what it was, and I still went to work. I was bartending at Jazzy T's. It's a strip club in Atlanta. Or right out of Atlanta. And I went to go get my charger out the car. So I told my manager that I was going to the car, and I don't know what was the scenario that led up to what was going on. I don't know if he owed money or what the case may be, but I was literally, there was 2 cars down, like it was different sections in the parking lot, and my car was here. There was a car right next to him. He was at the car on the side of it, and all I remember is looking to my right side and hearing 2 gunshots and somebody just dropping out of the car. I ducked down. I just like stood in shock for like a good 5-10 minutes and waited to hear nothing for a long time, because I'm hearing like scrambling. Like I can tell the person was still there next to the body, because the body was like talking, like the guy talked for a little while, and then silence came when he shot twice. Like it was like a normal conversation happening but then the person stood around for a little while. And then after that, I was able to, like, hearing the footsteps from a distance, I was able to run back into the club and just like let everybody know like somebody got killed. I knew the person died. Like it was just I actually seen it happen. And so it was like, I knew the guy didn't survive, whatever, how many, the actual gun, I don't know that gun size or anything. Like, and since that, I see it every couple of months sometimes, like the actual scene of that. Before I was seeing it like every day, a couple times a day.
When you sleep, or just when you sleep, you envision it?
Thinking.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever like I've thought about it before going to sleep and just wake up, but not dream about it. I haven't dreamt about it, but it replays in my head all the time. Which I think is a little worse, because it's like I could be in a daydream, or something sounds like me listening to the voices talking and then it happening. Sometimes, like if I hear somebody talking from a distance, it'll come back to me, like the same type of tone. And that was around the time where I was wearing myself out with the Atlanta, like just the nightlife and college, and because I was where the money was at in Atlanta, in the nightlife, like with music, money, entertainment, drugs, sex. It was just, so that was where these scars were a lot of the reason why I'm not into nightlife too much now. Like I done experienced so much in Atlanta. Most of them came from, most of my scars that I say like were detrimental, like that I can still think about and it's still like really touching, came from the Atlanta
Your time in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about Old Friend.
I came back home and I'm from Brownsville. I went to school in Crown Heights and I lived in Bedford-Stuyvesant. Well, I still live in Bedford-Stuyvesant, so it's been 19 years. So in the process of moving to Bed-Stuy, obviously, Bed-Stuy, Crown Heights, Brownsville, they're kind of close. They're like within a 3-4 mile radius around each other. I bumped into an old friend that I started to date, and he was in the street life. Something that I didn't want to, I knew in my brain that I didn't want to date someone of his stature and being in the streets and stuff like that. But we had a good friendship. It just turned into, a relationship after that. And I just seen his potential. I fell in love with potential and how he could change and, the things that he could do. And so I tried to help him in the music industry and kind of clear up, the street stuff and kind of go to, legitimate music way because he had a lot of different connections. But he always found himself doing something, going back to the streets some way, somehow. It was like the streets called him all the time. And it was a couple of dangerous situations that led to him serving 28, he got served with 27 years in prison.
Okay.
From conspiracy, just a lot of different charges.
Okay.
And it's just a place of it scars because I knew better. But I also felt like I was kind of saving someone that I really cared about. But it also made me realize my value and, that I didn't deserve to be in a situation like that, no matter how much I cared about somebody else. Like you can't want to change more than somebody else. And I felt like I could have, done something different to make him see that he didn't need to do these kind of things or his value. But then I noticed putting myself in those situations also, took a toll.
Tell me about Prince.
Prince. Okay. Prince was my friend from Atlanta. He didn't go to the school. He actually stayed in a house like in between campus. So in the AUC. So the AUC consisted of Spelman, Clark, Morehouse, and Morris Brown. So he stood on a house that was on Clark's campus. And like everyone knew him. In the area, we all hung out by Prince's house. Like that's where everyone would like gather during like off campus hours, or if it was in between classes because the barbershop was there. It was just like the area to be at. After Morris Brown lost accreditation, which was a scar too, that I never mentioned, but after Morris Brown lost accreditation, everybody split up that was in school and everything else. And I really didn't get to see Prince too much after that. So maybe 2 years passed by and I was just walking in Cumberland Mall. I don't know what made me go to Cumberland Mall, but I seen him and he was just so happy to see me. He was like, "What are you doing over here?" I'm like, "I don't even know what I was doing over here, but I just had to buy a shirt." I ended up at Cumberland. So he was like, "Well, come out to the Velvet Room." And I was like, "What's at the Velvet Room?" He like, "We celebrating my birthday. Just come out. Let's have a good time." I went home after that. I got an outfit to go at Cumberland Mall. And I didn't go. I fell asleep. And about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I got a call. I received a call telling me that Prince was killed in the parking lot of the actual club that he invited me to. And at that time, I knew someone that was related to the person that killed him. So it was kind of a, eerie situation. They already pretty much, knew who it was. And it was just messy. You just didn't know who to talk to, who to trust, it was a bad situation. And it just made me feel like, when I talk to anyone from the past or someone comes up in my mind, it makes me reach out and try and meet up with them because you just never know if it'll be the last time you see them.
Tell me about the coach.
Larry Major. So Larry Major was a coach at my high school. He was a mentor to a lot of young men from junior high school to high school. He used to, draft kids from junior high school to our high school to play basketball. He was a very good basketball coach. I cheerleaded first, and then I ended up becoming a basketball manager, like getting their suits together, making sure they're washed whenever they go on tournaments. I handled all the tournament information, and I grew a close bond with him. It was like a father-daughter bond, and he was the one that showed me a lot of discipline to make sure that when I wanted something, I didn't play the sports, but I seen how he drilled into them, what they needed to know in order to be better players. After I graduated and we had this close relationship, I really didn't keep a hold of him too much after I graduated. And I kind of was upset at that because it was no reason. I could have picked up the phone and called and stuff like that. But out the blue, something told me to call him. I called him, had a conversation with him. We reminisced and he'd tell me about what's going on in school and so on and so forth. And then 4 days after that, I heard he got arrested for, I guess, endangering the welfare of a minor. I'm not sure the exact charges, what they were. But the first thing that came to my head was I could imagine how people probably are calling his phone right now, like questioning what's going on. I didn't believe it, but you can't hold nothing past anyone. Like I couldn't say, I know he didn't do it. You get what I'm saying? So it was like I just wanted to get a hold of him to ask him, is he all right? If he needed anything, I was there because at this moment in time, I could just imagine the backlash he's getting from everyone. So I left a message on his voicemail because like everything was going to his voicemail. I guess he was still arrested. Because I had asked my friend that, used to talk to him all the time. And as soon as he got out of jail, he killed himself. Like it didn't even take no more than a day. And I kept thinking to myself, like maybe if he would have just heard like one person on his voicemail with something positive rather than, all the negative. Because I just feel like certain times we sit here and we think that it's the worst thing in the world. And then 5 years later, you like, damn, if we would have just stuck it out, like you never know what would have happened. But a man of his stature, I know couldn't live with himself, knowing that people were looking at him like a child molester.
Wow. So
he didn't want to go through the process of, I guess, court and all that kind of stuff, which is, it's sad.
Wow. Tell me about the passing of your grandmother.
Passing of my grandmother. My grandmother was the first person that passed that I was like truly close with, that I spoke to every single day, or if it wasn't every day, I seen her every other day. So someone a part of my daily life that passed. And it happened, I was in my 20s. So my daughter, I had my daughter at 23 years old. So me realizing like I had people around me that died that I knew, but never at that close magnitude. So I went through a depression phase. For 6 months, I was like I didn't come outside. You barely heard from me. I did a lot of yelling and screaming. I always felt like my chest was caving in. But she was the one that I can say gave me inspiration to break generational curses. She wasn't used to thinking out the box as far as like entrepreneurship. Neither was my mom. But she also treated me different. So that's what made me feel like I had something different. And I held on to that. Like I knew I had something different. Like my grandmother had multiple grandchildren, but I knew I was the different grandchild. Mm-hmm. So every time I thought about everything that I do now and how much I wasn't supported, I felt like she was the one supporting me through it all. So I think that's where her death took me to really truly believe in myself like my grandmother would have.
Tell us about breaking the family circle.
Well, my mom never grew up with a dad. I didn't grow up with a dad. My brother didn't grow up with a dad. So I felt like me having a child, I would want to stay with my child's father. And I did everything possible to stay with him, even being unhappy. And I did that for a while. I did that till she was like maybe like 4 or 5. And we weren't together per se, like in a relationship, but I just mean we broke up maybe when she was like 3 and still tried 4 or 5, like around that area. But I just felt like breaking that was a huge scar for me because I wanted that so bad. And I felt like I can deal with anything to keep that together. Like I wanted to know what that felt like since I didn't know what it felt like, even if it was unhealthy.
You wanted your daughter to have it.
Her dad with her, yes. Yeah.
You wanted her to experience mom and dad
experience
together.
Mom and dad together. And even I tried it even when we weren't together, just like the co-parenting to the point where the daughter doesn't know that they're not together, like that kind of thing. I tried that even for a while until I was like, all right, we can't even do this. Because it was a barrier of him understanding we're not together. And I don't have to tell you where I'm at. And I don't have, like we make certain agreements so that you don't have to do this. I do this. This is what we do. And that's just that. But, I think that frame of mind, that's why I'm scarred over it, is because of not having my dad and wanting her to experience everything that I didn't experience at a young age. I didn't care about monetary things. I cared about the time she had with him. That was more important than anything to me. Which it's a good balance. That's good. Not, just time and not finances. So I just dealt with a lot of things that I shouldn't have dealt with.
It's got to be healthy time too.
Right.
It's got to be healthy for everyone in the house.
Right. So not realizing that and just like focusing on the staying together part was, I think, more harmful than anything. Because when I finally kind of split that dynamic up and was able, I wouldn't have done anything that I do with my brand now if I was still my daughter's father.
Okay.
Literally. Because I wouldn't have had the space to. I wouldn't have had that push to go out there. Like it would have been a total opposite. He would want me to go 9 to 5, just go to job, come home, and, he was comfortable.
Tell me about having that gut feeling.
And listening to it, huh?
Yes, and listening to it.
I had a gut feeling one time to not go to an after hours spot. And I went anyway because it was the manager of the club that was telling me that she wanted me to come with her. And at that time, she was a little bit bipolar. So I wanted to make sure I stood on her good graces. So I was like, let me go with her to the after hours, sit there for a little hour or something, and then we go. So we go to this after hours spot and it starts, I swear, it wasn't even 10, 15 minutes we were in there when it started. I see someone start yelling to tell other men to say free his father. And it was like, that premonition of, oh shit. Like, this is what I was feeling. And the two gentlemen, because they look like they're the only two sore thumbs out of everyone. You can tell everyone knows everyone in the place at the time. And they start looking at each other. The guy that's telling him to say free the person, he's looking at him like, nigga, I said. And once the guy, I guess he was going to say something slick, or I don't know. He didn't even get to say anything yet. He just hits him. So they start squabbling or whatever, like right in front of us. And now I'm like, let's go outside. But I had already been saying, let's go outside when I seen him like first say it, before the energy started to really like shift, before the actual like hit. So now the hit comes about, everyone starts trying to fly out the door. So we fly out the door, and it was like 2 seconds that we get to the car. As soon as we go like to the car, we start hearing gunshots. So now everybody's just ducking. Like, it's in front of a big, like, it's like a mansion house, but all the cars are parked in front of this like house, this mansion. And cars are, if you know, down south, you park everywhere. Everybody's like coming in on all sides. And so it's just like no order, no anything. So everybody's ducking behind the cars while all these gunshots are going on. Like, when I tell you, it was multiple, like I'm hearing like bullets going ping past my ear and everything. And all I kept saying is, God, if you get me out of here, I would never go to another after hours spot ever again. You hear me? Like, I will go to work. I'm going home. I'm never going. You told me that. Like, oh, I felt it. And after a while, the gunshots like stopped, and you start hearing everybody like get in their cars and like skirting or whatever. And that brought me, I guess, not to go out to any after hours spot, because now I got this experience with her. She's like, yeah, let her go home, because she ain't gonna go to the after hours spot with me.
That was your
I'm not asking. Yeah, that was my pass for the rest of the time that I worked there for afties. But yeah, that's a gut premonition like that. It told me to go with my gut whenever I feel it. And I don't play with my gut now.
So you listening now, huh?
For something like that, yes.
Okay. Tell us about the scar and being in business.
I learned this scar happened at least twice in business. Losing the structure of a team. I have I'm gonna say I have the blessing of meeting people on their journey, in the beginning of their journey, and seeing a lot of potential in them, in what I see them to be, rather than what they really want to be.
Or what they are, right?
Or what they are, right? And I have the ability that when I first meet with someone that has skills to be next to me, like to do either directing, production, writing, graphics, or whatever it is, put them in a position to grow quickly. Because that's what my network is, mainly like the artists, executives, creators. So I have placed people around me that say that they're on the same, goals and mission that I'm on. And then once they get whatever it is that they want, they forget what we mutually decided would be our business goals, as partners. And those have left scars because a lot of the people I do business with, I consider them like family. They're the ones that I spend most of my time with because I'm after my dreams every day. So whether it be building the brand or helping build someone else's brand, they're with me doing it. They're my graphic designer, my director, my, executive assistant, or just whoever it is, putting together pieces, is what I do best. So these people will be a part of most of my teams when I'm, working with different people. So just having to keep clearing house of the people that are not supposed to be around you and not on that same energy that you thought that they were on originally, as what you would call them? Hitchhikers. And knowing that some people will be around for seasons. It's not, everyone is not just going to go with you wherever you're going. And as much as you want them to, their actions will place them where they need to be in your life. And you can't be afraid to distance yourself from it. Because at a time, I felt like I was so comfortable with certain people around me and just accepting what they were doing because I cared about them as a person, not realizing that it was stunning my growth because I was putting too much on their plate. I was seeing them in positions that they said they wanted to be in, but that's not what their work showed. So at the end of the day, I can only be compassionate to a certain point before it hinders me from going where I need to go. And I feel like now, since those were scars that I never want to learn again so far on having someone next to me. So now I can see different characteristics early on that'll teach me and tell me like, yeah, this person is not going to be here for too long, or, just know how to treat these certain situations. Before, I used to feel like everybody was a partner until I realized the value of being a partner and what it entails for somebody to be next to me and say they my partner. Because when somebody's your partner, whatever they do, it goes for your business as well, right?
Absolutely.
They representing your business. So, discovering value, and what I bring to the table, and do I want to make sure, is this the person that I want to bring with me?
Okay.
So making those decisions now are in a better place.
That's what's up. So we went through some scars. Is there anything you want to leave my audience with?
Yes, that all of these scars have placed me where I am now. A lot of them made me realize that the reason why I'm in a position that I'm in now, where I'm in a male-dominated industry, I am in a place where a lot of people didn't believe that I could A&R music, I could do artist management, I can create events and actually make money off of, artists coming up. All these things that I didn't think that I could accomplish through these scars gave me some type of motivation. It made me never give up in thinking that I can accomplish whatever I want to accomplish. I don't really have fears because of some of the things that I've seen and gone through. I feel like if I don't do something, I'm going to miss out more than anything. So I'm fearless through these scars.
Can you tell me about your award show you do in New York?
Yes. So it's called it's quoted as the Brooklyn Grammys. It's called the Come Up Experience. It is a yearly award show that we give back to the artists in the tri-state area that are like midstream. They're probably just being signed to labels. They've been around for a little while, but they're really starting to gain notoriety. So like there's a come up artist, right? And then there's considered a mid-tier artist, and then there's considered a celebrity, right? So they're in this weird place of, years of hard work. People know who they are. Some of them have gone viral, viral moments, but they have no one that has given them any type of recognition for everything that they've done. I know one thing. I know when you're appreciated, when people are grateful for you, you do more. And I feel like there shouldn't just be a place of a Grammy. You gotta be this type of artist to win a Grammy. I feel like when you're doing great things and you've been doing something for years and years, like you should be awarded, you should be recognized. And then a lot of them are, they're messengers. They are artists. They give us different messages. They are able to take art, moods, just places and transform them into songs that we listen to and kind of set the tone for life, right? And that's a big job. So I feel like once they're recognized and they are inspired to do more, they're going to do better things out there. Okay. And, if we don't celebrate our own, who is?
That's what's up.
So, the Come Up Experience is a yearly award show that now these artists look for every year to be honored, to win awards. They collaborate. The main goal of the night was to put different creatives from all areas, executives, platforms, just people all in the music industry in, beginning places, executives, the top executives. We had a couple of different celebrities come by, but it's to place everyone in one area and just have them network and it's a good environment. Everyone is happy. Everyone's being celebrated. So I've seen so much come from that one night every year, throughout the year, the following year. It amazes me. And just seeing it happen every year and get bigger and bigger is exciting.
That's what's up.
Talking about all these scars kind of, I don't know. I don't know if it was therapeutic. I don't feel it yet. Like it felt like a good thing, but it just brings you back into things that you think you want to forget. And then you realize that you're probably doing everything you're doing now because of those scars.
Absolutely. That has helped shape you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're here and you're continuing to move forward, right? That's what all of this is about.
Yeah.
Right? You take away one of those scars, you wouldn't be you.
True.
So thank you for coming. Appreciate you sitting here with us.
This feels like a good therapy.
Going through your
you gonna charge me when I leave here?
I hear you. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Scars. Please remember to like, share, tell a friend. We out.
Scars on the surface, but they deeper within. Every stitch is a chapter, every break is a win. From the pain we ascend, like the phoenix we rise. Scars podcast where the truth never lies.